Hartman's Community Centre, Milton, Ontario, Canada. A check of the other monitors showed that his charges were coiled up asleep in their lairs. An alarm now went off, and a light started flashing. In 15 minutes, the sun would go up, and Aurelio knew where he had to be when that event occurred. Thus he stripped out of his human clothes while his form still resembled that of a human, and started to enter the tunnel leading to the communal and ceremonial caverns. As he took his first step, his clay-like stone flesh started to darken and ripple and swell. What emerged from the other side of the tunnel is a living statue of the dragon goddess Histh. The statue is life-size and walks like a dragon and thinks like a dragon. For when Aurelio King transforms into an idol of Histh at nightfall, a bond is formed between Histh and the transformed Aurelio, where he becomes the focus of her celestial power. Histh herself may be too busy saving an inquisitive rat down in New Zealand, but her idol is much more than several tons of rapidly hardening basaltic rock. To the dragon worshippers who will pay homage to it, Aurelio is Histh. Unfortunately, mobility isn't part of the package for Aurelio during the day, and as he shuffles along a stone ramp to his pedestal of honor, his gait slows as his body hardens and becomes less fluid. After perching himself on the jeweled globe, he tries to pose himself in a dignified manner appropriate to an idol of a dragon goddess. He extends out his wings, raises one clawed foot with outstretched talons, and just before he freezes solidly, turns his head slightly to stare at the witch dragoness Megreth. He opens his maw in a silent dragon roar of greeting, and then solidifies only the flickering glow in the rubies which make up his eyes, indicating that he still lives and sees what is before him. Like any good dragon, Megreth utters a quick but loud roar in response, and then makes preparations for the serpent dragon dance and the initiation ceremony. There are a total of 6 ceremonial chambers in the world, and the one in Canada is devoted to the descendants of the dragon goddess Histh. To understand the purpose of these gathering places for dragonkind, one must understand that there are 600 races of dragons in the world. Histh is actually a pretty recent deity in the draconic religious order. 4 other tribes of dragons have their own deity, which they alone worship. What all dragons' creatures have in common is the proto-serpent from which all draconic races sprang. Dragon mythology states that this great serpent was born out of a volcano back in the time when King Lizard stalked the earth, and the human race was represented by proto-mammalian rat-like things. It was said that the great serpent spawned offspring which ate everything in their path, and would have destroyed the world if a fiery comet had not plunged out of the sky and driven the race to near extinction. It is believed by the dragons that many a long, low hill could be the fossilized remains of the great serpent. Since this cataclysm occurred tens of millions of years ago, no living dragon actually met a great serpent, and until a few years ago most doubted that the creatures were any more than a myth. The old myths also state 2 more things. The proto-dragons known as serpents were descendants from the great serpents, and when 7 great serpents have been reborn, the end of the world will come. The serpent dragon dance is a ritual dance performed by the dragons all over the world. It is in honor of the great serpent from which all the 600 dragon races sprang. The great serpent is one deity all the different tribes commonly worship. Every 6 years the dance is held at the Canadian caverns, and it is an occasion for dragons around the world to come together and celebrate what they are. In other years, the other 5 chambers are the site of gathering dragons. In years past, the ceremonial caverns devoted to the tribe of the serpent had fallen into disuse. It's a little difficult to maintain a ceremonial cavern to a dragon deity when young ones start to question the very existence of a serpent deity. The dragons were straying from the very path.